It is 96 degrees outside, so I hope I don't start sweating like crazy in the middle of this video. Hey guys, it's Rowell again, and today I'm going to be sharing with you guys some of the books that help me break a reading slump. The reason I'm making this video is because I'm currently kind of in a reading slump. I mean, I'm enjoying a lot of the things that I'm reading. I'm currently in the middle of I think it's 4 books right now. One of them is an audiobook, but I'm just not reading them as quickly as I would want them to. It's halfway through June and I still haven't finished anything. But I mean, part of that is because I'm currently taking a summer class, so while I'm in school it's just a little bit hard for me to focus on books and things outside of school because I'm just constantly feeling that I have to do something for class, and I just hate that feeling. I just want to be able to relax, and it's just I'm taking 2 summer classes, and it's just it's not allowing me to enjoy my summer as much as I would want to. I mean, I did finish some books in May, but then, you know, my summer class started in June, and now that feeling is completely gone of me just feeling free. And I feel like that was one of the reasons why I'm not reading as quickly, because even in May, while I was out of school for about 3 weeks or so, I constantly had in the back of my mind, class is starting soon, and I wanted to finish all of these books, and I was reading so many things at the same time and ended up finishing nothing. So that made no progress at all. So yes, I started thinking about a lot of the books that kind of got me out of reading slumps, that I was able to kind of really breeze through and just rekindled that energy and that fire for wanting to read more stuff. So I decided to go ahead and share those with you guys. I mean, by no means are these complete recommendations. These are just books that helped me get out of reading slumps, that I was able to really enjoy and read quick enough to boost my motivation for picking other books up and everything. Some of the authors on here I know a lot of people don't enjoy and stuff, but that's fine. These are just books that helped me beat some reading slumps. Now, the first book on this list is Fangirl by Rowell. A lot of people here know about Fangirl. They've read Rowell books and stuff. This is the first book by Rowell that I've ever read, and I really loved it. I think it's because Rowell has such a way of writing characters and making them so relatable and everything, and I liked the fact that this one focused on college age students, and I really enjoyed that because usually with YA and stuff it always focuses on high school, and I liked that these characters were a little bit older and they were going to college and experiencing new things, and I really enjoyed that aspect of the whole thing. Her writing, like I said, is just great. She just makes great characters, and this is one of the only books that I've finished and I've wanted to just start right over and start reading it all over again. That doesn't happen with a lot of books, and it did with this one, and it just really motivated me to keep reading other stuff after I was done with this one. I really loved this one. I've read almost everything by Rowell at this point, and I've just enjoyed everything about it. So I think Fangirl is my number 1, but mostly anything by Rowell I'll pick up, and it'll kind of, get me out of that reading slump. And the next book on this list is The Crowns of Crosswald by D.E. Knight. I haven't really talked about this book a lot on my channel. I've done a review on this one when I first read it, and I absolutely loved it. This is an ARC that was sent to me before the book came out, and currently it's just my favorite middle grade fantasy series. It's really reminiscent kind of Harry Potter, but still very different, and it still feels very unique. And I flew through this book. I mean, I tend to be a slow reader, but this one was one that I just absolutely had to keep reading, and every time I would finish a chapter I just immediately wanted to read the next one. I didn't want to put this one down. This one really helped me to boost my reading desires and everything, and motivated me to continue to pick stuff up, and I absolutely love this one. I loved this world and kind of this magical feeling of our main character Ivy kind of discovering this new magical world and this new magical system that's just so unique and wonderful. I loved it, and I just cannot wait for book 2. I'm really excited about the next one. But yes, this is definitely a book that if you enjoy fantasy and you enjoy middle grade fantasy, this definitely will help breaking reading slumps. I know it did for me. Then the next book on my list is Bird Box by Josh Malerman. This is an adult mystery thriller kind of futuristic thing where there are these invisible creatures, or these creatures that people can't look at, so when they go outside you have to you gotta be blindfolded and stuff, and it's just wonderful. This book is short, which helps with it. The chapters are really short also, which helps to kind of breeze through it with all of the reading and everything, and it's just super fast paced and tense throughout the entire thing, and I absolutely love this one. This is another one that even with my busy schedule, when I was reading this one, I breezed through it. It definitely put me into the reading mood after I was done with this. It was just absolutely wonderful and intense and dark, and yes, I loved this one. I usually tend to gravitate kind of toward like mystery thrillers and stuff when I'm in a reading slump, because, you know, books like these, they tend to be quicker, they tend to be very intense and very engaging. This is definitely one of those reads. And the next book on my list is more of an author than a book, and that is R.L. Stein, and this is a bind-up of like his two of his books in his Fear Street series. And I feel like the Fear Street series in general by R.L. Stein, I can pick anything up and just breeze through it because their books tend to be very, very short. You can read them kind of like in a day, in a couple hours. And I absolutely love this series. I love R.L. Stein's writing. I mean, it's not the greatest, but it's super fun, very fast-paced, very light, very easy to get into, and it definitely can put you into a reading mood. I know back in high school when I was introduced to the Fear Street series for the first time, I was reading like a book a day in the Fear Street series because I absolutely loved this series, and I just think it's wonderful. I need to pick this up. Like, I need to get back into the Fear Street series, especially now with my reading slump, because I feel like it's going to help me boost like my reading mood, because yeah, these are just super fast paced and just super easy and fun to read, and yeah, I just love the Fear Street series and R.L. Stein in general. And the next book on this list is Legacy of Kings by Eleanor Herman. This is a YA fantasy retelling of Alexander the Great that I absolutely loved. I have talked about this series on my channel a couple times before. This is like my favorite like YA fantasy series, and I absolutely loved it. This is another one that's very fast paced, very easy to get into this new world and these characters. Usually fantasy tends to be a little bit slower and denser, but this one is just like the writing just flows very well, and it's just so easy to read and get through, and I just absolutely love this one. Like, if you guys are looking for a fantasy series to kind of get you out of a slump, I highly recommend this one, because this definitely got me out of a slump and into the reading mood. After finishing book 1, I immediately picked up book 2 because I had an arc of it, and just like breezed through that one also. So I love this series. I highly recommend it. I'm planning to like binge through this series at some point, because book 4, which is the final book in the series, comes out at the end of June, which I'm really excited about, and hopefully I can binge through this entire series this summer, because I really want to get into this world again. You know, now with the reading slumpish kind of that I'm in, I would really love to kind of get into this world again and breeze through the 4 books in this series so that I can just kind of get back into the reading mood, because I need to get out of this slump. And the next book on my list is Rotten Ruin by Jonathan Mayberry, or the whole Rotten Ruin series by Jonathan Mayberry. This is a YA dystopian. It's kind of like Walking Dead for YA audiences, and I absolutely love this series. These books are super fast paced, very fun, very easy to get into. If you guys like zombies and, you know, Walking Dead, that kind of thing, I think you're going to really enjoy these books. Again, this is a series that no matter how I'm feeling and what reading mood I'm in, I'm going to pick up one of these books and I'm going to just breeze through it, and I'm going to love it. I've read the 4 books in the kind of like the main series, and I still have like the short story collection that goes with it that I guess takes place after this series, and then he's going to start writing new books in this series that follows different characters, but it takes place in the same world, which I'm like super excited about, because I loved this series. I love these characters. Again, it's just super fast paced and very action packed, and definitely one of those books that will get you out of a reading slump, I can guarantee that. Then my next selection is also another author in general, but the main book that I really enjoyed by her is It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. Me and my wife really enjoy Colleen Hoover books, and we've read most of her stuff and really enjoyed it. It Ends With Us was the first book of hers that I've read, and I absolutely ended up loving this book, and everything else that I've read by her I've really enjoyed. This is definitely, like, her books are very addicting. I mean, they come with its own problems and have its own kind of problematic characters and problematic themes and stuff, but I just feel like with Colleen Hoover books, you have to take it as her not romanticizing these things, but actually kind of bringing it to light and shedding light on these kinds of like toxic relationships. And yeah, I mean, these are things that happen in real life. Like, you know, the world isn't perfect. There are toxic relationships like these, but I just absolutely love kind of how these stories end up flowing and how these things end up kind of like resolving themselves in the end. And I don't know, I really ended up loving Colleen Hoover as an author. I didn't think I was going to, and like anything that I read by her is going to get me out of a reading slump, which reminds me that I still have one book of hers that I still have not read that is on my shelf that I feel like now would be a perfect time to pick up and get myself out of this reading slump, because yeah, I feel like Colleen Hoover will always get me out of a reading slump. And the last book I have is Falling Kingdoms by Morgan Rhodes. I've only read the first one in this series, but back when I read it, I was starting off school. This was like a year and a half ago. I was starting school. It was like my first semester in college again, and even with like my first semester and getting a little bit busy, I was still able to kind of pick this up and breeze through it and finish it and get me kind of into a reading mood, and I just really enjoyed this one. This really holds fond memories because of the fact that I was just able to breeze through this one while I was starting in school and everything, because I haven't been able to do that in following semesters, you know, being able to kind of continue on with my reading while I'm in school. But this one I was somehow able to complete and get through it at a decent time, and yeah, I just like, it holds good memories, you know, because it was just the first book that I finished when I first started college, and it was great and wonderful. It's not by all means the perfect series, but it's definitely fast-paced, and I really, really enjoy the way that it's written and stuff. It's another YA fantasy that isn't too dense, but it's really easy to get through. Yeah, guys, that is it for all of the books that helped me get out of a reading slump. If you guys have any authors or any books that you guys also go to try and get yourselves out of reading slumps, I would love to know any recommendations that you guys would have to help me get out of my own reading slump. Comment down below and let me know that. Also, thank you guys all again for watching, and I will see you all next time.